When you choose to heal and not just deal, that's when you will feel. And I'll say it again. When you choose to heal and not just deal, that's when you will feel. Some may say when you choose to feel, that's when you'll heal. And not just deal, that's when you'll heal. But I say when you choose to heal and not just deal, that's when you'll feel. It's because in my healing, this is just from my perspective, because, and that's the one thing you'll learn about me is spirituality in my eyes is not a one size fits all. It's not. I can give you my perspective and what has worked for me and what I have encountered throughout my journey, but I cannot say that this is the right way for everyone, because I can't say what works for me will work for you. You know, it's not a one size fits all, you know, so I don't like that that a lot of and I don't believe it's intentional, but people have gotten to the point where we're one size fits all on spirituality, and that's just not how it works. Spirituality is all things. It's your take. You know what I'm saying? It's your perspective, how it's going on in your life. You know, your journey. It's your perspective, your universe. It's your experience. And so I can only provide you with my perspective. All right, that's my point. So, with that being said, my perspective is that, you know, you have to make that decision to heal. You have to decide to heal. And when you decide that you want to heal, that's when you'll stop just dealing, you know, because a lot of times we have this habit of just going through life and saying, well, that's the cards I was dealt. You know what I'm saying? And, oh, I'm just going to roll with it. You know, I'm just going to deal with it. Or, you know, we stay in relationships because, oh, we've invested this much time. And instead of really trying to heal through it, you just accept everything that you've been, that you're in right now. And you're just taking it and going with it. Now, I say that to say this. When in my journey, when I decided, because for me it was a relationship, but I mean you'll have many things that you can apply this to. It's not just relationships, it's just in life when you decide to heal. So when I decided, and in fact I went on a healing journey, a self-love journey, really starting about 2 years ago. You know, just really pouring into myself, really learning how to love myself. Because even though I said that I love myself, I didn't love myself as in depth as I thought I did. Because a lot of times we say, oh, I love myself, but, you know, you're not doing anything that shows that's showing that you love yourself. I mean, you can go and take yourself out and buy yourself things and say that that's self-love and pamper yourself, but true self-love is pouring into yourself, doing the things that you know are good for you, but you may not necessarily want to do at times. You know, self-love is sitting with yourself and acknowledging your real feelings. You know what I'm saying? So, it all started with my self-love journey. And so in starting my self-love journey and pouring into myself, starting to feed myself better, water myself, you know, love on myself, I made it to a point where I was healing. You know what I'm saying? And so in that, I could no longer just deal with what was around me. Okay? And so I finally decided to step away from my relationship, because in my relationship I was noticing that a lot of different things. All right, I'm not gonna go in depth on that, but the point is, I made it to a point of where I was no longer just choosing to stay in that relationship because of all the time that was invested in it. Because I was in that relationship for 13 plus years, you know, and I still made that decision. Instead of just dealing, I decided to continue to heal. And in that healing, you know, I realized that I was not happy in that relationship. And of course, you have to make yourself happy. You know, you have to be happy with yourself. But when I began doing that began pouring into myself and loving on myself and healing, truly healing, I realized what did make me happy. And I realized what was not making me happy, you know, or what was taking away from my happiness, I should say. Because I feel like a person should already be happy and at peace within themselves. But when you get into a relationship, you can either find someone to share that with you, or you'll encounter someone who may try to steal or take away from that. And so when you find yourself in a situation where unhappiness is occurring, or your peace is being taken away or stripped away, you know, little by little, then you have to liberate yourself from that situation. And so that's what I did. I liberated myself from that situation. But it wasn't until I decided to, you know, heal, instead of just dealing, just deciding to, oh, I'm just going to stay in this relationship because it's been so much time. Oh, you know, I'm not going to turn a new leaf and start pouring into myself like that because, oh, it's, you know, I'm just this age and blah, 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 you know, because we come up with so many, we come up with so many reasons why we can't, or why we have to deal, you know. And when you truly decide to just you don't want to just deal, that's when, you know, stop it. That's when change occurs. And so that's why I say when you choose to heal instead of just deal, that's when you'll feel. And in doing that, that brings me to my point. Feeling. The reason why I said it like that. I'm sorry guys if this isn't, if it's all over the place. But my thoughts just kind of, my thoughts go constant. So, but when you heal instead of deal, it brings you to feeling. And I feel like, again, this is from my perspective, my experience. There have been emotions that I have experienced, especially here in the recent weeks, that I can't even express with words. There was a day where I was just sitting in the quiet, and the sun was just coming through the window, and I was in my living room, and I think I was just sitting there, and I was writing, I was channeling, and I'm writing everything down, and it's like I just got this rush of emotion that was foreign to me. I'd never experienced an emotion like that, such an elation, such a beyond happiness. I just felt it. It was just a warm. It was an emotion that I never felt. And I feel, and it was in that moment that I acknowledged that emotion, and I was writing it down. I'm like, I can't even describe this feeling. And I was like, that's beautiful, because I've never felt that feeling before. And for me, hey, sorry, it's my dogs. So for me, I've never felt such emotions, and especially prior to healing. But it was in that moment I realized, I said, had I not decided to heal, had I not decided to put me first, to love myself, had I just decided to deal, I don't think I would have ever felt this emotion. And I feel like there's so many different emotions that we have not felt or experienced. And it's because you know, we've not, we've chosen to just deal. And when you choose to just deal, you of course you don't get to experience, I don't want to say it like that. I feel like when you choose to just deal, you don't allow yourself to even be able to be open to feeling such emotions. You know, because in order to feel certain emotions, I believe that you have to be on you have to be vibrating on a certain frequency. You have to be high vibrational. You have to be vibrating at a high frequency. You know what I'm saying? And if you are not vibrating at the high frequency, you know, you're not going to experience certain feelings or emotions. Like, had I not done the healing that I needed to do, I truly don't believe I would have felt such emotions. I don't. And even when I felt that, because I was channeling that day. And I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to, upload those videos, which they're actually already uploaded. They're just on private right now. But I'm trying to decide if I'm going to, unlock those videos again. I've just been going through trying to decide if I want to, if this is the path or not, because I'm on my own journey, guys. I'm on a journey as well. And so, yeah, I'm still working on that. But in that channeling, I remember I said, this is just the beginning. This feeling is nothing compared to the other feelings that I'm going to get to experience. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like for me on my journey, it is all about me experiencing different emotions, truly feeling. This journey for me is about me truly getting an opportunity to experience different emotions and different connections, whether it be romantic or not, but just soul tribe, it's just, yeah. Anyway, but I really do feel that in order to feel, you have to heal. And so some people may say, well, shouldn't you say in order to heal, you should feel? Well, I feel like at times, if you haven't healed, there's certain emotions that you just won't feel. That's like a person who's not truly healed and they're trying to go out and get into a romantic relationship. Well, you're not healed. So the type of love that you are desiring or that you're wanting to give out is not going to be that type of love necessarily, because you haven't done the healing. You know what I'm saying? So you don't even know. You're looking at love and everything from a hurt standpoint. You know what I'm saying? And so until you heal and you can see everything from a healed standpoint, a healed perspective, you know what I'm saying? Your experiences will be of what your perspective is. It's kind of like you have to meet things at your conscious level. It's kind of along those lines. Like it's the same thing applies to emotional intelligence. If you're a person who's not able to distinguish, between different emotions, you're not able to, I don't know how to, I'm trying to put this into words. So there's more emotions than just anger and happiness and sadness, okay? So if you're not able to properly I want to say decipher each one. If you don't know what each of those emotions looks like from a healed standpoint, and you only know what it looks like for you from a hurt standpoint, then what can you expect to be met with? Okay, it's kind of like that. And so I hope that makes sense. I really do. I'm not trying to complicate that, and I'm not trying to say that, oh, you shouldn't be out here loving if you're not healed, because, you know, your journey is your journey. But I'm just saying, you know, it's just, this just true. You know, if you're approaching things from a healed standpoint, you're going to be met with it from a healed standpoint. You're going to be met with, you know, you're not going to attract toxic love. You know what I'm saying? You're just not. You're going to attract what you are able and willing to give out. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be met with that. Plus, you'll be able to have that discernment. You know, truly healing, it allows, it's, healing and self-love is such a big prerequisite in everything. I feel like when you are in a place of and let me make this clear. Healing is you'll always, that's something that's going to be ongoing. But your purpose is also not your healing either. But I will say this. When you have healed certain things within yourself, you know, whatever it is that you need to heal within yourself. Whether it be, you know, your self-love, whether it be, you know, how you approach love, how you approach people, or whether it's your throat chakra, you know, whatever area needs healing. So, you know, when you have done that healing that you feel like you were supposed to do and for that moment, that is when you will start to experience different emotions, and you'll be able to, it'll add to your discernment, because healing, when you're healed, gosh, I guess I keep saying when you're healed, because I feel like you know what you need to heal. And I'm looking at it from my perspective, because I can only see it from my perspective. I'm not in nobody else's body. I'm only in this body. I'm only in Free's body. So I can only experience and provide Free's perspective. Hold on. But yeah, I can only give, sorry about that. My dogs were fighting. Well, it was my dog and my cat. But so I can only give my perspective. And so from my perspective, you know, from my perspective, healing, of course, is ongoing, but I feel like I'm in a place in my life where it's not my focus. Like, it's not, like, as far as, like, my self-love. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I've grown in that. I truly, you know, love myself. I truly pour into myself, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, I've learned to put myself first, okay? Whereas before, that was not the case. So, you know what I mean? So in that aspect, I've healed that. You see what I'm saying? But of course, there's more things you're gonna go along in life, and you're gonna be like, I'm healing on that, yeah. But overall, you know, you know how you feel. You know when you feel like you're in the healed standpoint, and that's where I'm at. Okay, so for me, you know, before you get in that standpoint, how you handle certain things, like how you, if approach, let me call it back. When you're approached by a certain type of person, and let's say you call yourself ready to be in a relationship, but you're not necessarily healed in that aspect, but certain people approach you. Well, your discernment, because you have not done that healing, your discernment may not be fully on point. So you may continue to still attract that same energy, that same type of person. You know what I'm saying? But it's just a different packaging. So that's what I mean. Like when you heal, when you heal certain things, you know, it's not just like, oh, I've healed that. It builds on other things. It builds on your intuition. It builds on your discernment. You know what I'm saying? It builds on those different things. So that's why I say, you know, when you approach things from a healed standpoint in certain things, it is the reaction is different. You know, what you're met with is different. Whereas if you're trying to approach it from a not healed perspective, you're still just dealing, then, you know, of course you're not going to be met with those other experiences. You know what I'm saying? The ones that you truly do desire. But, you know, I mean, so of course you're not going to have those feelings. You're not going to be able to experience those other feelings. But that's why, again, I said, you know, it's when you've healed your emotionally on different levels, you know, and you build upon that emotional intelligence, then yes, you can identify different things, and you know how to approach different things. So again, when you choose to heal instead of just deal, that is when you'll feel. You know what I'm saying? Because a person who's not healed, they can't feel certain, not to the capacity that a person who's healed would feel, I should say. So maybe you'll feel it, maybe that person may feel it on more of a shallow level, you know, maybe not as in depth as someone who is healed. You know what I'm saying? And that's not, I'm not like attacking anybody or anything, but I just feel like someone needed to hear that. Like, whenever it is that you decide to heal, instead of just dealing, instead of just accepting the chips that, you know, or the cards that you've been dealt, as some people may say, when you decide to truly heal and put yourself first, you know what I'm saying? Like, truly just put yourself first. Do that. Put that self-care, that self-love into effect. You know what I mean? Hone in on that self-love. Because truly, I really do believe that self-love is the prerequisite to everything. When you truly love yourself, there's certain things that you just won't even allow yourself to do. There's certain situations you won't even allow yourself to be in. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say it all begins with self-love. And so when you decide to build upon that self-love, which is healing, because then you're no longer dealing, you're truly pouring into yourself. That's when you'll feel, you know what I'm saying? That's when you'll truly get to feel the different emotions that you're desiring, you know, to maybe feel. Or that's when you'll be able to truly build upon that emotional intelligence, you know what I'm saying? And you'll feel. That's when you'll be able to encounter all the new emotions that you never even knew were a thing. So yeah, when you choose to heal and not just deal, that's when you'll feel. All right, y'all. I hope that resonates with someone. I know it will, you know what I'm saying? But and I know it'll find its way to whoever it needs to make it to. I put that out there. I manifest that. Let it reach whoever it needs to reach. You know, because if you're seeing this video, know that you are worthy, okay? You are worthy. You are so worthy. You're worthy. You're worth putting yourself first, okay? Don't ever let nobody say that that's selfish, okay? Because you should be selfish. Be selfish for once. It's okay to be selfish, okay? I don't know who needs to hear that, but I felt like somebody needs to hear that. Be selfish. Freaking be selfish. Put yourself first. It's okay. You've been putting everybody else first long enough. You've been putting them first long enough. You've been putting everybody else before yourself long enough. Okay? Put yourself first. Okay? Do that. Peace, everybody. Much love and much light. Till the next time.